Hi, hello. Um, yeah, it's been for a while, and today I wanted to uh, 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 introduce you some progress I have been made on this project. So previously we have a diagram like this, like BIGIP for north-south load balancing to the Cilium pod. And in the VXLAN tunnel mode. So the data path is in VXLAN tunnel mode. Okay, so the progress I made here now is we can run Cilium in routing mode. And so between the Cilium nodes, the pod between pod, and they can communicate with each other through routing mode. So you can like deploy a bird or BGP router for the Cilium, and yeah, but between the Cilium node and the BIGIP, we still use the VXLAN tunnel. So this make it more flexible. You can use BIGIP in Cilium routing mode or tunnel mode. Yeah, so I'm going to do a demo for that. And by the way, here is the PR pull request for a Cilium project. And if you read the pull request description here, and basically I added this enable external VXLAN option to enable the BIGIP VXLAN connectivity to Cilium routing mode or tunnel mode. So this feature is disabled by default. And you can enable it through this added options in the config map Cilium config, like set this enable external VXLAN to true. And then here you have the BIGIP self IP, VLAN self IP, and their subnet, nano VXLAN tunnel subnet, and the MAC address for the VXLAN, nano VXLAN interface on the BIGIP. And this is the VNI value. I actually hard coded. We recommend to use two for the word ID as a word ID for the Cilium. Yeah, so right, I'm going to do a demo. And here's my cluster with the Cilium. So right now I have not deployed a Cilium. So there's no Cilium running here. So to support the Cilium routing mode, I'm going to use Kubi router as a BGP to populate the route in the Kubernetes node. So this is documentation from the Cilium project to deploy the Kubi router. And so you just follow this argument, the settings here, and you should have a working Kubi router in the Cilium cluster. So I can show you the Kubi router here. This is my Kubi router manifest. And so we just follow the guidance and set up the option here. And so I don't have a peer router, so I comment out those. So I just deploy the Kubi router in each Cilium node, and they have their route set up in each node. I don't need to, this is a small setup. I only have 2 nodes, so I don't need this pure router. Okay, and yeah, that's it. And so I can deploy the router. Okay, actually, I'm going to show you the Cilium manifest. So here is the Cilium config options here. And you notice in the tunnel, I use the tunnel is disabled, which is to use a route. And this is a native router routing cider. And here in the guidance, it recommended to use the IPine, use the Kubernetes. And in the guide here, in this Kubi router run BGP guide here, it says configure Cilium IPine to use Kubernetes. And the Kubi router pulls the pod siders directly from KBS Kubernetes. Okay, right? So just follow the guidance. Yeah, IPine Kubernetes. And I want to, so if you deployed your Kubernetes through kubeadmin, and here you can, if you do not manage the node pod cider through the Kubernetes, you can go to the /etc Kubernetes. There's a manifest here, and if you look at the Kubi control manager YAML file here, so you needed to add these 2 options: allocate load cider set to true, and the cluster cider is the subnet. And so this is where you want the Cilium IPine use the Kubernetes to allocate the load cider subnet range. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically that's what this here means. You want the Cilium use Kubernetes to allocate the node pod cider instead of this cluster pool. Okay, and so that's the routing part. And here is the feature I developed here. That's the setting here, and I showed you earlier. And enable external VXLAN true, and BIGIP self IP, VLAN self IP, and the cider for the BIGIP tunnel subnet, the VTEP map, and the VLAN value. Okay, so in routing mode, and now we can deploy this we can deploy this. Okay, it's deployed. I have a script to show you to monitor the agent, the Cilium agent, and it dumps the Cilium BPF tunnel map list and the Cilium BPF IP cache list. So let's wait for the Cilium agent to be up. So one agent is up. Okay, both agent is up. If you pay attention here, the record for the BIGIP tunnel subnet is where, okay, here, yeah. So that's the subnet prefix for the BIGIP tunnel subnet. You can here is my BIGIP VLAN self IP endpoint, and that's the VTEP MAC address. Okay, those are the configured BIGIP subnet on the Cilium agent. So you don't see others. Those are the Cilium pod, and they're /32, and they don't have a VTEP MAC address. So only in the BIGIP, the external VXLAN subnet has the VTEP MAC entry configured in the Cilium config map. Okay, so yeah, and since this is running the Cilium routing mode, and here you can see the BPF tunnel map list. The value here, there is no tunnel map entry here because we are running in the Cilium routing mode. The BPF tunnel map is empty. But in the BPF IP cache map list, we have this record, and that's my PR. That's my PR here. And here is the, so here is a statement here. In this discussion, we decided to pre-populate the IP cache map with external VXLAN devices and the tunnel CIDR VNI MAC address. Okay. So yeah. Now let's do a basic test. And so let's see. We have a pod running. So there's a core DNS pod on the control node, and we have a BizzBox pod on the second Kubernetes node. So let's pin this pod, BizzBox pod IP from the BIGIP, and see if it's working. Yeah. Let's make it bigger. Okay, this I think this is pod IP, BizzBox pod IP. Let's ping it from the BIGIP. Okay, so it works. So this is through the tunnel between BIGIP and the Cilium node. It works. So now let's test the routing, the pod network between the Cilium node. just make sure the Cilium routing mode works between the Cilium node. Let's see, we can so this is I'm going to enter into the left shoot path, which is on the second node, and in this part, I'm going to pin the coordinates path on the first control node. So this is I just test the routing works between the Cilium node, right? Okay, so it works. All right, and I can show you the route setup by the Kubi router. So this is a route set up by the Kubi router, and so this is the subnet range for the second node. That's the subnet path setter. That's the node IP, and this is a local interface, right? So if we come to this second node, we have the same. We have a different route here. So yeah, here is the route set up by the Kubi router. The subnet path setter, the path setter for the first node, and the first node IP, right? Yeah. So this shows you it works between BIGIP and the Cilium node through tunnel, and between Cilium node using routing. Of course, if you want to use a tunnel mode between in Cilium, it also works. And yeah, so just want to show you this progress I made. And yeah, thank you for watching.